My name is Rick Haskell, and I'd like to welcome you to our labor economics course. I want to give you a brief introduction to the course. You're going to see many videos in this course. You may have already seen a video introducing you to me. If you haven't, you might be interested in viewing that to kind of get an understanding as to where I'm coming from for this course. But in this little introduction, I want to tell you about the course itself and hopefully give you some important information that will help you get through this course and get through very successfully. So in this little introduction, we're going to look at the central theme of the course. We'll talk about how the course is organized. We'll look at how you access me, and then we'll also look at different assignment structures and such. So first of all, this course is organized around one central theme, and that theme can be expressed in a question, and that question is, why do different workers receive different wages? I will take you back to this question over and over again as we go through the course, but I'll also ask you at the very end of the course, as part of your final exam, to give me an answer to this question, and you'll see some more detail about that later on. So I want you to be thinking about this question throughout the entire course. Why do different workers receive different wages? This is one of the more interesting courses that I've taught, either at the University of Utah, where I recently completed my doctoral work and continue to have a teaching appointment, or at Westminster College, where I'm an assistant professor in finance. It's interesting because all of us are participants in the labor market. Few of us understand why we get the outcomes of participation that we do. And yet further don't understand why other people have different outcomes than we might, and why firms price these outcomes and our efforts at varying levels. So this course discusses all of that. Why do different workers receive different wages? The course is organized into a series of modules, 15 different modules, each module having 4 to 6 video segments, with each video segment being, I think the shortest of them is 8 minutes and the longest is upward of 20 minutes, but they average probably 10 or 12 minutes per video. I know it's a little bit longer than you might prefer, but in these videos I'm going through equational forms, I'm solving equations with you, I'm showing you graphic forms, I'm helping you to build and develop models, so there's really a lot of information in these. One of the things that I can tell you right off is that as I've taught this course online in the past, I've been able to see a direct correlation between the students that go through every video and versus those that do not. And then I also am getting to see then the students that are getting good grades versus those that are not. And the more times, or the more video views that students have, and I can track these through Canvas, of course, the more video views that students have, there's a direct correlation with an improved grade. So I would encourage you to take the time to go through every one of the videos. If you don't, you're going to miss out on not only on some grade possibilities, but you're also going to miss out on some very important information. After each video in these modules, so each 10, 12 minute or so video, there will be a very brief 5 or 6 question quiz. In these quizzes, you have the opportunity to have 2 attempts at each quiz. And the score that you'll get for these quizzes will be the average score of those 2 attempts. Now, if you aced it in the first shot, there's no sense in going to another attempt. But if you didn't like the score you got on the first attempt, then you can go to a second attempt and do presumably much better. I would encourage you to watch the video first, then do your first quiz, and then, if needed, go to the second attempt. Some of us might be tempted just to go to the first attempt of the quiz, run through it. If we didn't do well enough, now we've seen what it looks like, go to the next attempt, get a high grade. But remember that the score you're going to get for the quizzes, for each quiz, will be an average of your attempts. And the quizzes in some are worth 15% of your grade. So it's enough of your grade to not mess around with this. After the 4 to 6 video segments in any given module, you'll find a review problem. And the review problem really is going to be the homework, if you will. It's what it's where you'll actually do some equations. It's where you'll provide me some graphic models. You'll answer some objective questions. You'll fill in some blanks. And again, just like with the quizzes, you have 2 attempts at this. And just like with the quiz, the score that you'll actually get with the review problem or for the review problem will be the average of the scores you got in those attempts. Now, one of the things that you'll notice in the review problems is that some of them are objective scores. By that I mean that you're doing fill in the blank or true, false, or multiple choice. But some of the problems or questions within the review problems will be you actually submitting an equation and solving the equation for me, or submitting a graphic model that you've drawn out, or submitting some text, which the system, Canvas, won't score immediately. And so the score that you see when you submit and finish the review problem almost certainly is not the actual score that you get on that problem, because I will come back in after everyone has submitted their problems, and I will go ahead and take a look at those text files that you've submitted, those graphic models you've submitted, the equational forms I've asked you to fill out. So that will be updated, but you're going to end up getting an updated score that does reflect you having taken the review problem once or twice and the average that you got within those attempts. So be mindful of these. Also, with the quizzes and the review problems, you're going to find that they have deadlines, and these are hard deadlines. You either have them submitted and you get the scores related to your submissions, or you don't. There's enough going on in this class, and we move quickly enough that we really don't have time to go back and do things again. And so I'd encourage you to be very mindful of staying on schedule with this class. Getting behind is very, very costly for you. So after a few different modules, and going through the review problems and such, you'll then participate in a Canvas discussion. At this point, let me show you very briefly what some of these are going to look like for you and walk you through some of the Canvas site. So as we do this, I just want you to be able to see when you open up the Canvas site for the course, this is the screen you're going to be looking at. You're going to see this home page with this nice picture of the valley, of course, and it's got over here on the left, it's got some of the different items that you're going to be viewing in Canvas that you got available to yourself, and that's great. Most of the time, you're going to head straight towards the modules. And when you open up the modules page, you're going to be able to see then how this is broken down into modules. And this is a chronologic listing of all the modules and all the assignments and the exams and everything for the course. You're going to find that the entire course is already laid out for you for the entire semester. If we selected one of these modules, or one of the parts of the module, let's say we're picking up the labor market, first module, and part 1 of that module, you'll see that there are, as I said, video segments that you can open up. And in this case, there's 2 video segments in part 1 of module 1. There's 6 video segments in total for module 1. You'll view the video by clicking on the video, and then when you've seen it, you'll go ahead and click on the quiz that will take you to then, not surprisingly, a quiz for that module. And you'll open it up, it'll have the questions for you, just as it's doing for me, and you'll begin to answer the questions. Very simply. At the end of the module, the last part of the module, you'll see there's a module wrap-up. If we look at what the module wrap-ups look like, you'll see that it's reminding you the due date, which is all throughout this, of course. And then telling you how to actually go through this. You click on the review problem for the module, and it'll bring up the review problem itself. This one starts to give you a scenario, gives you a table, lets you think about what some values are going to look like, and then you can go ahead and take what is called the quiz here in Canvas, but really it's that review problem. If you look at this, excuse me, let me come back to the wrap-up, it then informs you in this page that after that due date and time, then you can actually see the answers to the module or to the review problem. So if you didn't do as well as you might have liked, or if you did perfectly, you can see what my answers were to this as I set this up initially. And you'll see that I've given you a Word document that's got the questions and how I've answered them, whether it's tabular answers like this, whether it's graphic answers like this, or some of the textual answers as such. So you'll be able to see all of the solutions to the review problems after you have finished the review problem and once the deadline to submit the review problem has come and gone. Again, you have 2 attempts at this, but both attempts must be completed by the deadline in order for each attempt to be calculated into the score that you'll receive for this. As we go a little bit further, let's take a look back at my introduction for us. I said that we'd then go ahead and participate in what's referred to as a Canvas discussion. I don't know if you've done Canvas discussions before, but I have 5 separate Canvas discussions outlined for you throughout the semester, each one of which will talk about a different element of our socioeconomic climate that is related to labor economics. This first one talks about the labor market. In fact, let me briefly take you to it. And you'll see that as you open this particular one up, it gives you a discussion that you can read through very briefly about the minimum wage, which is obviously relevant to the labor market, and then gives you a number of articles that you can take a look at. I would expect that when you go through one of these Canvas discussions, you would read my brief text here, which is really very often not giving you opinion, just kind of setting you up for what the issue is involved, for, in this case, the minimum wage. And then you'll read a couple of the different articles, which are primarily magazine articles, blog posts. They're not long academic journal articles that are going to be 20 and 30 pages. And you only have to take a look at a couple of them to be able to then enter credibly into the conversation. And then once you've done that, you will go ahead and you will go ahead and provide a reply, which is a post. It will be your initial post. You're going to tell us what you think about the minimum wage. You're going to begin your part of the conversation with the entire student group in the class about the minimum wage. You're responsible, as you fulfill this assignment, to ultimately provide a minimum of 3 unique posts. The first one will be this original post where you're telling us what you think about these articles, what you think about the topic that we're discussing. The second post that you'll provide will be you responding to the post of another student. Now, as it turns out, you can't see any of those posts for the other students until you've submitted your first post. And then once you've submitted your first post, you can see all of the posts from other students. So in your first post, you're telling us what you think, and then you're responsible to provide a second post. And in that second post, you're responding to something that another student has offered. Maybe you're agreeing. Maybe you're disagreeing. Maybe you're pointing out a complementary point of view, or whatever it happens to be. My expectation is these are going to be thoughtful. They're certainly going to be adult and polite, but I'm hoping they're also sometimes a little bit provocative. I'd like you to begin to engage on a different level with the rest of the students in the class, and every once in a while I'll jump into these as well. But I'm hoping that you'll engage with the students in the class so that you actually create some discussions with this. We're not going to be dealing with the exact same concepts in these Canvas discussions that you'll be dealing with in the video modules, but understandings of the video modules and some of the material there will certainly help you work through these Canvas discussions. The Canvas discussions become, in my mind, an important part of what we're looking at within this course, and they help you answer the question, why do different workers receive different wages? The quizzes are worth 15% of your overall grade. The review problems are worth 25% of your overall grade. You'll have 2 midterm exams, and together they're worth 25% of your overall grade. The 2 midterm exams you'll need to schedule through the U Online Center so that you can take them in a proctored testing environment, either at one of the University of Utah campuses throughout the state or at some other campus of another institution elsewhere, but that is authorized by the University of Utah, where you'll be proctored and where the exams will be resident for you. Let me give you an idea as to what those exams look like. And this is of the midterm examinations, not the final exam. We'll talk about that separately in a moment. The midterm exams are largely quantitative, as you're aware. This is a quantitative intensive course for the University of Utah. Really, it's a microeconomics course applied to the labor market. But for those of you that have not had microeconomics, I'm going to guess that's most of you, then we really walk you through those mechanisms. You don't have to have had an economics course to do very well in this course. You do have to have a basic understanding of algebra, solving a system of 2 equations and 2 unknowns, and working with an XY Cartesian coordinate graphics model system. But really, you need no prior knowledge of economics. If you have some, great, but you'll find that those students that don't have any in economics and those that do compete very readily for grades in the class. And I say compete, we don't grade on a curve or anything, but I just want you to know that you can do very well without already having an economics background. So within those 2 midterms, you'll have 3 different sections. Section 1 will have 1 multi-part problem, and you must tackle and provide solutions to that 1 multi-part problem. And when I say multi-parts, it's probably going to be parts A through D or A through E. It depends on what the problem is I give you in the particular midterm. In section 2, then you'll have 2 multi-part problems of which you will choose to solve 1. Do not provide solutions to both of the problems in section 2, but you do need to provide solutions to each of the parts of the particular problem you choose to solve. Now, if you begin to solve problem 2, let's say, and you realize, no, this is not the problem for me, this goes beyond what I was expecting, and you then want to abandon it and solve the other one instead, that's fine, but make sure that you cross out that problem, make it very obvious to me that that's not the one that you want me to score, because I'm going to score the first one that I come across that looks like I'm supposed to score it. And if that's the one you were then later abandoned, that might be a little problematic for your overall grade for that particular exam. So that's section number 2. And frankly, section number 3 looks exactly the same. It is going to have 2 multi-part problems, and you get to select which of those 2 you're going to provide solutions to. I do that in part because I know that there's going to be a lot of detail in this class. This is a very interesting class, but it's a dynamic class as well. And there's going to be a lot of detail there, and I know what it feels like to walk into an exam, open up the exam book, look at the question and say, oh, please no, not that question, anything but that question. So I'm trying to give you a little bit of degree of freedom so you don't face that particular problem. The final exam is going to be separated into 2 parts. A proctored part, which you'll have to schedule through the U Online Center, just like you'll schedule your midterm exams. Which proctored part will be very similar to the midterm exams, but it will only have 2 sections rather than 3. The first section being a multi-part problem that you must answer or provide solutions to. The second section will have either 2 or 3 multi-part problems, and you'll be responsible to make some choices from within that, just as you did in the midterm exam. But the second part of the midterm exam will not be proctored, and you'll submit it via Canvas, and it will be a short essay of no less than 1,500 words. And it'll be an essay wherein you'll provide an answer to the question, why do different workers receive different wages? You'll be asked to give 3 examples of why different workers receive different wages. You'll be asked to provide graphic models to back up each of those examples. I'm telling you what that part of the final exam is right now. By the way, that part is worth half of the final exam points, and since the final in total is 20% of your grade, this one essay is 10% of your grade. I'm giving you the details of it now, not because I think you need to start to work on it now. You certainly can wait until the finals week or whatever to actually do the work on it. It's not going to take you that long. It's only 1,500 plus words, but I want you to be thinking about it the whole time. Class. In addition, there are some supplemental resources that you'll have access to. These are optional. You have no requirement to get into these resources. However, you might find that they're very helpful for you. Let me show you how to access supplemental resources. In each module, at the bottom of each page, you'll see a module resources link. This is module 2 resources. So in this case, if I click on this, it'll let me go ahead and open up the page, and I see that there are some primers, problems, and solutions. These are I call these in-class problems, or sometimes you'll hear me refer to them as practice problems that are complementary to the material that we're studying within the module. And so I give these to you not as something you must go through, but as something that you might choose to go through to help reinforce some of what's going on in that particular module. There will also be then some supplemental videos, and these will largely be Khan Academy style videos. Some of them will not be, and they're typically relatively short. They are not of my creation. Other people have put these together. I've done all of the videos for the modules, but these supplemental videos will come from others, and these videos will perhaps help, again, reinforce what has gone on in the module. If you haven't completely understood a concept because of the way that I've presented it in the module, perhaps you want a different take on it, I would go to one of these videos to help improve your understanding of it. Let's talk about how you access me for a minute. One of the things that I want to get very clear very quickly is that you have to do a lot in order to get a bad grade in my classes. Now, what I mean by that, you've got to go out of your way to not even try. Now, there are people that have tried to do that, of course, and there are people that have gotten lousy grades, but I'm telling you now that if you're willing to review or to view each of the video modules, to deal with each of the quizzes and the review problems in a timely manner, go through and participate in each of the Canvas discussions, you're going to get a decent grade in this class. It's almost impossible not to. And by a decent grade, I mean something in the B range, maybe even in the A-. If you really put in the effort, then an A- or an A is absolutely available to you. But if you don't put in the effort, then the low C range, the D range, or yet worse, may also be available. Don't work that hard. Just take the time. This course is very well laid out for you. The course designers at Teaching and Learning Technologies, Jane Wolfworth and Nate Saunders, helped lay out this course in the winter of 2014, early spring of 2015, and they did a great job with this. And then we've amended it in the interim as we've seen that things needed to change. There's some really good information here. It's well laid out. Get a good grade in this class. Moreover, get something out of this class. And if at any point you're stuck, you don't understand what's being communicated, you've looked at something 2 or 3 times and it's just not getting through, then for heaven's sakes, access me. You're going to find that you've got my cell phone number. It's on the page right here. I likely won't answer your phone call. I rarely answer phone calls that aren't from my spouse or my children, but I will respond to your phone call. I'll either respond with a text or respond by a voice call to you. If it's a text that you've sent me, I'll probably respond with a text fairly quickly. Send me emails. I respond through the email system through Canvas or through your regular email system, and I respond to them very quickly. I always respond within a day. Sometimes I respond immediately. It just depends on what's going on. So I would encourage you to access me as much as is necessary. And if you need a face-to-face or if you need a video chat, then for heaven's sakes, let me know that and we'll set that up. I office at Westminster College in Salt Lake, which, as most of you probably know, is just down the street from the University of Utah. But I'm available as much as you need me to be available. I want you to do well in this course. I absolutely love this course. Of all of the different economics and finance courses I've taught over the years, this is my favorite. I love labor economics. I think that it helps us understand why so much of what we encounter in life and our finances and our position with our careers, why those things take place. And if you can master those concepts, not only can you then engineer perhaps a stronger career for yourself, but you'll be much better able to then run businesses, either your own or those that you just happen to be working for. I hope you enjoy this course. I look forward to interacting with you. We will take the time and the opportunity to interact from time to time, either by Canvas emailing or announcements that I've got through the course for you that you'll respond to, or text messages, or face-to-face. Again, I look forward to meeting you, and enjoy this class.